Hey everybody, hope you're well. Hope you're doing good. Big news in crypto right now. Tether, the company behind USDT, just announced a new US regulated stablecoin called USAT. It's launching under the new Genius Act, and it could reshape how stablecoins work in the US. Let's break down what this means, what's at stake, and why people are calling this a turning point in the digital money space. I'm here to explain this, and we'll get into it. First, let's talk about what happened. On June 28th, Tether announced its plans to launch a new stablecoin called USAT, which will be fully compliant with the United States' recently passed stablecoin regulations, known as the G&E. U.S. Act. The stablecoin will be issued by Anchorage Digital Bank, which became the first nationally chartered digital bank in the U.S. earlier this year. Custody of USAT will be held by Cantor Fitzgerald, a major financial services company. The coin itself will be an ERC20 token on the Ethereum network, so it's not a proof of stake token like USDT and USDC are moving to. Now, before we move on, make sure to hit that like button. It really helps us out a lot. And if you want more content like this, subscribe so you don't miss out. Now, before we talk about why this matters, let us quickly cover the details of the Genius Act because it is important to understand how this new stable coin is supposed to work in comparison to existing ones. The Genius Act officially stands for the Stablecoin, Transparency, of Accountability and Uniformity Act of 2022, but we call it the Genius Act for fun because why not? It was introduced by Senators Loomis and Warner and basically aims to set clear rules for stable coins. Here's a quick breakdown of the key points. First, the bill requires stablecoin issuers to hold enough cash and other high-quality liquid assets to cover all redemptions at any time. Think of this as a liquidity requirement that ensures the issuer can exchange your $1 for $1 worth of cash whenever needed. Second, the Act mandates reserve and business audits from independent third parties at least once a year. These audits will examine the issuer's financial condition and ensure compliance with the law. Third, the bill requires full backing. Every stablecoin in circulation must be backed by an equivalent value of cash or other permitted assets. This is pretty similar to what's already being done by USDC. However, the key difference is that USDC is backed by both cash and US Treasuries, whereas USAT will only be backed by cash and US Treasuries. Fourth, the Genius Act calls for enhanced cybersecurity measures. Issuers must establish robust cybersecurity programs to protect against hacking and fraud, something that's crucial for safeguarding user funds. Finally, the bill promotes regulatory clarity and consistency by requiring issuers to obtain state licenses. These licenses would need to be renewed annually, ensuring ongoing compliance with the regulations. Tether says that USAT will be the first stablecoin launched in full compliance with these new rules. So let's quickly compare how USDT and USDC handle things versus how USAT will going forward. Alright, so now let's talk about why this matters. This isn't just some random stablecoin launch. People are talking about this for four main reasons. 1. Market competition. You see, Tether currently dominates the stablecoin market globally. UST has been widely used and accepted across various exchanges and platforms. However, USDC has gained significant traction in the US thanks to its association with Coinbase and its early adoption by several exchanges and payment providers in the country. Now, with the introduction of USAT, Tether is bringing its highly successful product into the US market where it will compete directly with USDC. The stablecoin market is evolving rapidly, and the entry of a regulated option like USAT is a clear indication of this change. Reason 2. Regulatory clarity. This is a game changer. For the first time ever, we're seeing a stablecoin issuer launch a product directly under US law. The Genius Act provides a framework that allows this, and Tether is seizing the opportunity. The success of USAT will depend largely on how transparently the company plays by the rules and publishes its audits and reserves as promised. If everything is above board and the audits are reliable, then USAT could set a precedent for other stablecoin issuers, potentially encouraging them to seek similar regulation. 3. Global influence. If the U.S. model succeeds, other countries could consider creating their own frameworks for stablecoins, which could eventually lead to global standards. And finally, reason 4. Platform adoption. Major players like exchanges, wallets, and DeFi platforms will likely list USAT due to its compliance with U.S. regulations. This inclusion will provide users with more options when choosing a stablecoin, allowing them to decide based on factors such as cost, availability, use case, etc. However, there are also risks and challenges. First off, transparency. There have been many instances in the past where Tether hasn't been completely open about their reserves or backing. If there are any doubts regarding the transparency of their audits or reserve data, trust in USAT will quickly diminish. Secondly, adoption. Not everyone, especially those who value decentralization and anonymity, might be on board with a regulated stablecoin. They might see this as a step towards increased government surveillance and control over their finances. Lastly, competition. Both USDT and USDC already have a massive head start and a strong presence in the market. Trying to gain a significant portion of the market share would be tough, especially considering the fees and costs associated with being a regulated entity. It is possible that USAT might not appeal to users accustomed to the low fees of USDT or USDC. Now, I want you to take a moment to hit that like button if you've enjoyed this explainer so far. It helps our content reach more people and allows us to keep making videos like this. So thanks for your support. So let's wrap this up by answering the question, what happens next? What does the future hold for USAT? Well, there are a few possible scenarios. First, USAT grows. It gains traction with institutional investors and exchanges who prioritize compliance and regulation. Over time, it could become a leading stablecoin option in the US and possibly expand internationally. Scenario 2, shared market. All three stablecoins coexist, each serving a slightly different segment of the market. USDT maintains its position as the global leader but loses some ground to USAT in regulated markets. USDC continues to dominate within the US due to its early mover advantage and strong ties with Coinbase. Finally, Scenario 3, adoption slows. If there are issues with costs, regulation, trust, or negative media attention, USAT might see limited adoption. Instead, it's possible that the majority of users stick with either USDT or USDC, sticking with what they're familiar with rather than adopting a new regulated stablecoin. At this point, it's too early to tell which direction things will go. Only time will tell how well USAT will perform. Wrapping up, this is a big shift in the stablecoin space, but it's just beginning. Do you think regulated stablecoins like USAT are the future, or will USDT and USDC remain dominant? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. And if you're interested in more content like this, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you next time.